Hello and welcome to the inaugural edition of Northcoast Cigar Review. I'm your host, Bill Oskowski, and today I'm excited to be reviewing a cigar for you that we don't see that often, the Graycliff Crystal. Now before we get started, I just want to let you guys know, if you have any questions, any cigars you'd like me to review, or any comments, please leave them below, and I'll do my best to get back to each and every one of you. Now, with that being said, let me just let everybody know that all reviews are going to be done in a two-part process. The first part of the review is going to be my thoughts on construction, the specs of the cigar, a little background on the cigar company itself, and my overall observations. Part two is going to be what I like to call the burn. That's the actual cigar smoking, from the lighting of the cigar all the way through the actual burning of it. I'll give you what I feel the taste profiles are, the aromas of the cigar, how the cigar is burning, and my overall review and rating of the cigar. So two-part process. Stay tuned for both of them. I think it's going to be very informative and you guys will like it a lot. With that being said, let's get this review started. So the Graycliff Crystal, like I said, a cigar you don't see that often. Not something you're going to find in a cigar shop locally. You're going to really find these online, mail order catalogs, things of that nature. But it's probably the most sought after cigar that you never heard of. This cigar won Top Cigar by the Robb Report a few years ago. So it's a very sought after cigar. Graycliff itself is really known for pushing the envelope when it comes to cigars. And what I mean by that is they use blends of tobacco that you don't typically see. Most cigars you're going to see Dominican, Nicaraguan, Honduran, Cuban seed, Dominican stuff, Connecticut wrappers. What Graycliff does, and this is what's really cool about it, is they include tobaccos from around the world. Places you wouldn't necessarily think they're going to be putting in cigars. One would be the Philippines. And in this case, in this cigar, they have tobaccos from Greece. Now, I've never had Grecian tobacco in a cigar, and I've been smoking cigars for 20 years. So I'm really curious as to how this is going to affect the overall smoke on this bad boy. Now, what Graycliff is saying is the tobacco from Greece actually helps alleviate some of the bitterness with the cigar. So I feel like that'll be pretty interesting when we go to light this in the second episode of this, the burn. Catch that later. And we'll see how that really goes. So let's start with some specs. Okay, this cigar is 7 inches long, has a torpedo end, and a shag foot. Now that's something you don't get to see that often. I'm going to try to get this so you guys can see that there. There's a lot of theory and rumor as to why a cigar would use a shag foot. One, in which I think Graycliff is really trying to accomplish here, is they're trying to harken back to the old Cuban style cigar, where you have this unfinished wrapped end here, and an older looking wrapper leaf on this cigar. One thing about Graycliff, what makes it what's called a prime aged wrapper. So the Crystal is kind of their go-to high-line cigar right now. And this wrapper leaf could be from a tobacco that is about 20 years old, so 1995, so actually 20 plus. So that's going to add a real nice flavor profile to this. As far as some other specs on this thing, like I said, 7 inches long. We have a torpedo end, the shag foot, an Ecuadorian wrapper on this cigar. Again, something that you don't really see. We mentioned earlier the Dominican, the Honduran, the Nicaraguan wrappers that you'll see out there. Also, you'll see some Mexican San Andreas wrappers, Connecticut wrappers. Ecuadorian. So that's going to be interesting. The binder is also an Ecuadorian binder, so that's going to leave a very consistent taste profile as we're smoking this cigar. But like I said before, when I mentioned the interesting choices for the Phil cigar, the Phil cigar tobacco in here is going to be a blend, Dominican, and then Nicaraguan, and then the tobacco from Greece. So that is going to be a very interesting blend there. And then with this shag foot, so with this here, what we're doing is, we talked a little bit about the look that it gives. It makes it look like it's an original old school Cuban. When you take this band off and you set it down, you'd be hard pressed not to say that that's a Cuban cigar. But what I feel in a little research that I've done is the reason they did this is when you light this, you're lighting the filler tobacco first. So you're getting a little bit different flavor profile there. You're tasting all the filler tobacco right off the bat, which is not usually the case. And then once you're probably, I'd say about 10 puffs into this, you're going to start to hit the wrapper and the binder, which is going to change that flavor profile. So that is going to be very interesting when we go to smoke this. Overall, the construction is pretty good. And I'm going to hold it up there. It's a very, very nice wrapper. You don't see a whole lot of seams. I don't see any signs of cracking, anything like that. I mean, it's just built like a champ. I think it's going to hold up very well when we go to smoke this. It's a firm cigar, so I feel like the draw is going to be pretty good on it. I, for one, don't like an overly hard cigar or an overly soft cigar. I kind of like it right there in the middle, which is going to help draw the smoke in as we're smoking this. It's going to help that burn pretty evenly, and I don't feel any hard spots or any gaps in there, so it's built pretty well. Overall, like I said, this looks like a great cigar. It's got that classic good cigar smell. I'm really looking forward to lighting this bad boy up. So overall, I would say initially on the construction, the specs, how this smells, how this feels, and that pretty cool shag foot there, I'm going to give this an initial rating of a 7 out of 10, possibly an 8. When we go to smoke this during the burn here, I have a feeling this is going to push a little bit higher. I do want to say real quick thanks to my man Wild Bill Haddow. He picked this up for me in the Bahamas because they are produced in Grand Bahama in Nassau. He was down there. He saw this and thought of me. So big shout out to Bill Haddow. Thank you for providing this cigar for me. And we'll see how this thing goes in episode 2 when we light this bad boy up. So catch the second episode. That's coming here shortly. And remember, smoke them if you got them. We'll see you soon.